How do you read an IEP?
All right. Well, the first thing, of course, the whole IEP is very important, but the first thing I read is the present level of performance because that will give you a clear understanding overall of that specific student. I like to look at the student's strengths, their weaknesses, the parental concerns or input on their child, academic performance, which should include their grades, testing, scores, things of that such, how that student functions in the classroom with their teachers, their peers, and how their disability affects their learning. The goals section is extremely important because that's what the special ed teacher is collecting all their data on. And as a general education teacher, you can kind of gear some of your curriculum and assessments towards their goals. Review accommodations so that you know what accommodations that child gets in your classroom, but hopefully the special education teacher will be very clear on those accommodations, and they can kind of cover up anything, give you a cheat sheet so that you have something to look at to make sure you're giving each child those certain accommodations. And then the last thing I would look at is tests, the tests that they will be taking at the end of the year. Are you working with a student that's going to be taking the SOL for your class, or are you working with a student that's doing the BMAS, the VGLA, just knowing what type of testing they will be taking at the end of the year.
Okay. Anything else you guys can think of?
I like to keep a copy of the original in my classroom or in my possession so that I can write and highlight directly on that copy and make my own notes.
Okay. The original, you have a copy of the original IEP with
A copy of the original.
Okay.
So that I can write on it.
Okay. Okay.
And also, anytime you may think the IEP needs to be adjusted or changes made, just make sure you're communicating with the special ed teacher if you see those needs arise in your classroom.
Perfect.
And it's also important to know that as a general ed teacher, you are just as responsible to provide those accommodations as the special ed teacher.
Okay.